And for the next few minutes, let's have a little fun together as we review.
Okay.
We decided it would be good to put it in the words of a word picture, kind of what's called a motif or an analogy.
Yeah.
Remember that?
I do.
Remember sitting at the table with each other and we said, what would be a good analogy? What did we come up with?
Well, I think we came up with something that people can identify with anywhere.
Sure.
And that's that just like reading the Bible and getting some meaning, some understanding towards, as we work towards the idea of it applying to us, it's the same thing as going down to a kitchen and grabbing food. You might have lots of ingredients there, but there's going to be some order, some methodology in order to turn ingredients, supplies, into a meal.
Yeah, and a recipe, if you're really serious, you don't just toss stuff in. Folks on TV can do that, but it doesn't come out right when we do it. So we tend to look at the recipe and we, a tablespoon of this and a half a pound of that and so on. So we follow a recipe. What we did, we used the analogy of a meal and cooking.
Yes.
And I'm so glad we did because, as you put it, everyone has to eat.
Yeah.
And everyone has gone through the process, and we've all eaten too much fast foods, which may fill you up, but there's no nutrition in that fill up. So we've offered a method that will help them read what's here, find out what it is saying, and then some ways to determine what that means, followed by what does it say in other places, to make sure that you're not putting it all on one verse or half a verse, which the cults love to do. They'll pull one verse out and build their whole case based on that. Whereas if you look at that same thought over here in another book, it gives a different slant, or I would call a broader picture.
Yes.
And then finally, what does it mean to me? So let's talk about those 4 steps, if you will, as we think about getting into the scriptures.
If I understand you correctly, this is following the analogy. We're learning how to prepare food that will sustain us, almost like the Bible does give us the nutrition we need today rather than the newspaper.
Yes.
Or beyond the newspaper.
Yes. We even broke it down. I remember the 3 parts: finding the food, preparing the meal, and then serving the feast.
Yes.
The little ending of Bon Appetit at the end. I love that. And it gives that nice little twist at the end that says you're in for a real delicious meal. But like every well-prepared meal, it involves some logical steps to take. Now, that's what most people don't know. Even before we get into those 4, we need to think about, go to the grocery store, and we pick up the food, going by the recipe. You need this much ground beef. You need these spices. You need these. You need milk. You need the whatever the pastry that will go in it. And you're finding the food. So you need to determine what it is you want to study.
Yes.
And back to where you mentioned earlier, you may be in a narrative, in a history book. Keep that in mind. This is not poetry. However, you may be in a touch of poetry here. Keep poetry in mind, lest you make it walk on all 4s and turn the poetry into something so literal, you miss the art that there is in the poetry.